Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, I am there. Good evening, everybody, and how are we doing today? I've just cocked that right up. Hope you are well. Hope everyone is. That's what. Oh no, that's not what we want. That's where are we? Where are we? That's what we want. There we go. That's what we want. Sorry, I don't like it. StreamYard changed something a few months ago, making it very difficult to find what I need. Anyway, how are we all doing? It's Sunday at 6 p.m. Despite that ropey start, we are here tonight and we're going to be talking about what are you cooking at the moment with all the vegetables that you are harvesting from your allotment or wherever it may be. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a great week. It's been a really warm one here down in Littlehampton once again. But more on that in just a moment. First of all, let's see if anybody's out there. And I can see Kate is there saying, good evening, Veg Army. Good evening to you. We've got Rob there saying, good evening. Good evening to you. Adrian is there saying, hi, Richard and all. Good evening to you. What have we got? Saying hello to everyone. Chili Kate is there. Hello, everyone. Good evening to you. Everyone was early tonight, aren't you? You were excited. Anna Jones, good evening, Garners. Good evening to you. Scott is there. Good evening, all. Good evening to you. Stuart Jackson, good evening, Rich and the Veg Army. Good evening to you. Hello. Gary is there saying, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Digwell saying, hi, cookie gardening people. Good evening to you, cookie gardening people. That's a good one. Highgrove Gas, evening all. Sorry I've missed 2 weeks as I was busy away in Spain. Feels good to be back. Did you have a good time in Spain? And did you learn anything about gardening in Spain? I'm always, when I go away, haven't been away for a long time, but I'm always looking at people's vegetable gardens because I'm dull like that, although I don't think it's dull. Turbo Stream, good evening, Veg Podcasters. Good evening to you. Allotted Chef, okay. Nathan, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. What we got? What have we got? Nicola, evening, Richard and all. Good evening to you. Ian is there saying, evening, Richard and all. Good evening to you. Idaho is there. Hello, everyone. Good evening to you. Lots and lots of really getting in early today. Just scrolling through, I think we are there. So how are we all doing? Over on Instagram, Toby Clark 55555 has joined and Forest Garden Allotment has also joined. Anyway, we are here. Here we are. We are here. We're going to be talking about what are you doing with all the food that you are producing at the moment. And I say that because we are getting lots and lots of gluts, lots and lots of excess food. Of course, we only grow food. That's all we are interested in. And what that often means is that we'll harvest tomatoes and things as and when we need them, but sometimes you've got to harvest them when they're ready before they go too ripe. So we harvest those, we enjoy those, but sometimes that leaves us with lots and lots of too much food. One of those things that we've had, particularly over the last couple of weeks, is our potatoes. So I grow first earlies, second earlies, and main crop potatoes. And I've been through my first early bed. I've started harvesting my second early bed, but I went through my first early bed just once more, just to make sure they were all picked. And I discovered loads and loads more. So I dug them all up and brought them home along with some second early potatoes, and I realized a lot of potatoes. We don't eat that many potatoes, but we don't want to waste them at the same time. So I turned them, and this is something I made a few weeks ago, into Bombay potatoes. We made a big batch load of Bombay potatoes, which will go, of course, with our curry, but will also go in the freezer, the stuff that we don't eat straight away. So is anybody doing anything like that? Kevin Kelly is joined. Hi, everyone. Anyone noticed it's getting dark now by 9 p.m? I have noticed indeed. Where has the days gone? Toby Clark, great to make it for the start at once. Hello all, good evening to you. Rob, what have we got? don't like the darker evenings. Stuart Jackson says, we have cooked with the following: apples, rhubarb, tomatoes, onions, raspberries, and we have eaten the cucumbers, lettuce, chilies, as well as peppers. Absolutely. Scott says, I was away this week and wanted to find an allotment/veg garden on the Norfolk Broads, but couldn't find one perfect place for a veg garden, in my opinion. Interesting. Interesting adventures. Have to find out more. Chili Kate says, our neighbour popped around with a huge bag of plums just before the show, so Googling recipe ideas. Funny enough, I went down to our community garden earlier today. In fact, went on Friday morning as well to walk the dog, and I found and harvested a load of plums from there as well, which we're really enjoying. I'm looking forward to eating those throughout the week. Plums, so I'm looking for plum recipes as well, ideas of what we can do with excess plums. Nicholas says, this year Richard will only be harvesting potato tubs and beetroot due to the veg garden rebuild. Next year, hopefully, different story. Indeed. Nicholas says, harvesting blackberries from the wild plants. Excellent. That might be the best question, actually. What is everybody harvesting at the moment? Let's ask that. That might be a good place to start. Anna Jones says, it's beans, and more beans. Are you making any baked beans out of them? Or what are you doing with them? Digwell says, cooking loads of homegrown stuff. Latest video today, dill pickled courgettes. I saw that. That sounded quite intriguing. Stuart says, we have cooked and frozen rhubarb and apples as we can't keep up with either. Exactly. This is what I want to find out. What are you doing with all the food that you harvest? Turbo Stream says, I picked 2 kilos of damsons as there was a tree laden with fruit. Made 4 jars of jams. It's an acquired taste, but will be welcome in the winter. I do love damsons as well. Chili Kate says, he said he's been making Chinese plum sauce. That's a good idea, isn't it? Chinese plum sauce out of plums. That sounds delicious. Roast plums with star anise and serve hot with ice cream. It's a suggestion from Scott there on what to do with plums. Excellent. Stuart says, I'm looking to make rhubarb and ginger jam. Excellent. Rhubarb and ginger jam. I think there's a recipe for that on the website because I'm sure we've made it before. So yeah, what is everybody harvesting at the moment or harvesting lots of? So for me, as I said, potatoes, tomatoes, courgettes, we're just getting just enough. We've just got the balance right, but I fear we may end up with more. Beans and peas have stopped. Cucumbers, we're getting a few, just about right. What else have we got that we're harvesting lots of? Oh, cabbages, cauliflowers, and broccoli we're harvesting lots of. So lots of different foods coming in. What have you got coming in at the moment? What is making a lot? Turbo Stream says, I harvested more French beans for the freezer along with a few beetroot and a few onions that had fallen over. I forgot to say we're harvesting lots of beetroot as well at the moment. Chili Kate, I'm harvesting courgettes, cucumbers, tomatoes, runner beans, raspberries and blackberries, chilies, aubergines and peppers ready to go. Oh, do like all that. Chilies as well we're harvesting lots of. Ian says, what can I do with my courgettes? Lots of things that you can do with courgettes. They're always the one thing that people always have too many of. For me, I would be looking at growing something like dill or the dill pickled courgettes is something that Digwell has got on his YouTube channel, which might be worth something to look at. What do I do with courgettes? I do lots of things. I did something quite recently, or not quite courgettes, patty pan squash roasted with garlic. Absolutely delicious. But courgette recipes, I think we do that every year. Anybody got any ideas of what Ian can do with his courgettes? Toby says lots of zucchini, cucumbers and tomatoes and aubergine and runner beans and runners rubbish. That's good. I wouldn't say that's rubbish at all. That's very, very good. I forgot to add, we're getting plenty of aubergines this year as well. Turbo Stream picked a few big courgettes and now we'll leave a couple to grow big for storage. Excellent. Scott says there's a recipe for an Indian-style rhubarb pickle. Good one for storage. I do remember that, actually. I do remember that Indian-style rhubarb pickle. That's a good one. Also on the website, theveggrowpodcast.co.uk, if you are interested. Nathan, harvesting courgettes, onions, tomatoes, aubergines, chilies, apples, pears, beans, peppers, cucumbers, and beetroot. Excellent. Rob says potatoes, courgettes, tomatoes, onions, beetroot, beans, a few peppers, and chilies. Excellent, excellent. Lynn says to Scott, Norfolk Broads, you should have visited my plot. There we go. Stuart says courgettes, we're getting about 4 a week at the moment. That's good, isn't it? 4 a week. I would say that's just about right. Nicola says make some flour with courgettes, compotting cakes as well. How do you make flour out of courgettes? There is a 12 courgette recipe on my video in my channel. Let's get a few ideas for him. Let's suggest a few ideas. I'm happy to direct people to anybody's YouTube channel or website or anything like that. But let's get the few ideas on the show. Courgette cake is nice. Courgette cake. Scott says, I knew I should have posted on the Facebook group asking if anyone was there. Beautiful place to live. Yeah. Well worth joining the Facebook group and asking if you are visiting. We might be able to arrange a bit of a meetup or anything like that. I will check them out. Thumbs up, everyone. Beto says, made it. Just finished watering. I've got to water my garden when I finish this show tonight. I was looking at my kale that I've just planted out and looking a little bit wilted in today's sun. So they're going to need a really good soaking tonight in order to boost them up, along with a few of our other plants that just look a little bit wilted tonight. Turbo Stream says, actually, my April sown onions in my seedbed have done really well this year. Some quite big ones in the mix. I won't bother sowing Boxing Day again as they don't germinate or grow. For me, excuse me, I'm really tired today again. Idaho says, I've just harvested my first cucumber and there are many chilies and tomatoes will be ready soon. I always thought you would be way ahead of us there, Idaho. So that's I suppose you can't start as early as us, but yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Chilies have been incredible this year. Actually, I'm going to actually say all fruits this year have been incredible. Soft fruits and hard fruits like apples and pears are early in huge quantities. We've got loads of them. Courgette salad, courgette roll-ups, courgette loaf, courgette soup with ricotta, courgette fritters and egg batter, stuffed courgette, pickled courgette, frozen courgettes and dried courgettes. A few ideas of what you could do with those excess courgettes. Dried courgettes. That could work, couldn't it? Just dehydrating the courgettes and using that as a courgette salt almost. Grated courgettes a la Jen, warm salsa halloumi, and courgette salad. Get me hungry again. Dehydrated and then blitzed in a blender. Talking about how to make courgette flour. Ian says, I've seen some of Digwell's and they are good. Toby, sorry, I meant to pop, but aubergines and runners are rubbish. With you. So aubergines, I think a lot of people do struggle with aubergines. This year, I've got to say, it's been my best year for aubergines so far. And I've still got loads more. And I honestly do think the secret with aubergines, well, there's two things with aubergines. First of all, they need a long growing season. So I start mine December, January. Secondly, they need a lot of warmth. So they need to be up against a south-facing wall to really make the most out of them. They worked really well in my greenhouse, in my autopots in the greenhouse. But up against the south-facing wall, we'll get the best out of them as well. Scott says baba ganoush made with courgettes instead of aubergines is good. Oh, good one. That sounds like an interesting one. Baba ganoush. What have we got? Beddoes had a great harvest of apples, but very few pears. I've got so many apples and so many pears. I'm just waiting for the pears to be ready. Any apples for that matter, but it won't be long. Cider. Cider is something I think we're going to be making this year. We've got so many apples. The only alcoholic drink I really drink is cider, sometimes whiskey. Scott says, the thing with courgettes is to cook them hard and fast or low and slow. Yeah, hard and fast or low and slow, depends on your mood. Turbo Stream says, I steamed some French broad and runner beans with some cauliflower and potatoes for my lunch today, all from last year's harvest. I mainly got into the habit of growing basics for the freezer. You know, I think we do need to store stuff in the freezer. We all know fresh food is best, but storing things in the freezer is just as good, or not just as good, sorry, but is a good way of making sure we have harvests right throughout the year as well. Anna Jones says, my Discovery apple tree is absolutely covered. Never had such a wonderful crop. Exactly. Fruits this year have been incredible. Absolutely incredible. Digwa says, slice the courgette and drop old Worcestershire sauce, is that? Or soy sauce or chili, etc. And dry them in an air fryer on a low, lovely courgette crisps for snacking on courgette crisps. Oh, that sounds interesting. What has happened? I spotted Worcestershire sauce flavoured crisps in Tesco's the other day, but I haven't seen them since. I used to love Worcestershire sauce flavoured crisps. They were my favourite. They seem to keep coming and going. Tarbeck Super says, I had plenty of red currants and black currants this year too, all in the freezer. It's been a good year for fruits. Very good year for fruits. Idaho says, no, I am way behind. Very late getting my drip irrigation done. I was thinking I was too late. It wouldn't be worth it, but decided I would just have just enough days before first frost, so I forged ahead. Excellent. You know, there's nothing... I think sometimes you've just got to chance it. If it's too late, well, you don't know. Hargrave Gas says, I've got a load of figs all of a sudden. They don't keep well at all. Any suggestions? Any suggestions for what you could do with figs? My straight thought was to preserve them figs in honey. But I don't know if that's how that would work as a preserve. But figs in honey is delicious. Rob says, I only grow food that we can freeze, store, or pickle now. Yeah, I grow food that we can eat first and foremost. There we go. What about Marmite, Digwell? Marmite flavoured courgette crisps. Love Marmite. I do like Marmite. Marmite and courgette crisps. Interesting. Turbo Stream says, I've abandoned the brassicas. It's a massacre, as I found this morning. Caterpillars are running riot, so this will be the last year I try summer brassicas. You know, I've said before that autumn, winter brassicas are so much easier than summers. What I have to say, I spray my brassicas with Grazer's G1, I think it is. It's an expensive bottle, but it does the job. It keeps the caterpillars off. They don't like eating them. That, and I pick them and give them to my chickens. A combination of the two work quite well. Nicola says, dehydrate figs. Oh, pickled figs, says Idaho as well. Pickled figs and fig jam. Good ideas there. Good ideas. Fig jam. That's a good one, actually. Pickled figs, dehydrated figs. I'm trying to think what else we can do with figs. Because they're a bit of a funny one, aren't they? I do like figs, though. I do like figs. Turbo Extreme says, I will confine my brassica bed to a spring harvest of cauliflowers this year. I got a good crop of cauliflowers from a late January sowing. That's what works for you. Then all well and good. Interesting fruit, the frig, says Digwell. Is it technically a fruit? Because it's a pre-flower, isn't it? It's not necessarily a fruit in the sense, excuse me, in the sense that it's produced to produce seed. It's yeah, you know what I'm saying? Is it necessarily a fruit? I don't know. I don't know. I guess for the name for this, what we're doing today, we would call it a fruit. Or should I say flower, says Digwell. That's what I was wondering, actually. Is it a fruit or is it a flower? Similar to artichokes, globe artichokes. Yeah, just interesting. Nicholas says Digwell may need to water down a little before spreading. Spreading what? Spreading what? Turbo Stream says I like fig rolls. Fig rolls. That's something you could do with that as well. Fig rolls. Toby Clark, just transferred my fig tree from a large pot to a bed. A bit worried about how big it will grow though. I wouldn't worry. So fig trees do like to have their roots confined. They do like to have confined roots. But I have seen them. There's I used to park when I went to work in Canterbury in a car park, and they had these huge fig trees that were planted in the ground. They were huge, absolutely huge, but they were in the ground. As I say, fig trees generally like having their roots confined in a space, in a container, so don't worry too much. You can always prune them, just don't prune them when it's hot sun, because you can get burning from that. Nathan says instead of jam, use a fig puree and make a fig roll polly. Oh, how do you make a fig puree? Just blend them up. I guess. Chili Kate, my last meal would be prosciutto, goat's cheese, and fig salad with a lemon and honey dressing. Prosciutto, goat's cheese, and fig salad. Oh, fig salad. Oh, now we are talking. Now we are talking. Oh. My nan gave me some fig rolls as a kid. Lovely, lovely. I think as a kid I didn't like fig rolls, but now I've gotten older, I tend to like them more. Ian says, be careful pruning figs as it has sap that can burn your hands and arms. That's what I was just saying. Fig molasses. How do you make fig molasses? Tell us more. This fig conversation has really got me going now. Well, Turbo Stream and me, trouble is I eat the whole pack in one go. Yep. Digwell says the fig is a cluster of numerous tiny flowers inside the skin. These flowers are pollinated by tiny fig wasps, which enter through a small opening. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because the fig, would you class the fig as a fruit? Yeah, lots of questions there. Phytophotodermatous. Interesting. Just don't like them. I keep the packet to myself. Talking about fig rolls, I haven't had fig rolls in years at all, so I might have to get some fig rolls now. We've spoken about it a bit more. Any more ideas on what we could I'm a bit out of focus there, on what we could be using for fig rolls? Also, has anybody else got something that they have got a glut of at the moment that they're looking for recipes for? I'm just looking through my notes. Oh, something I've been making a lot of: soups. I've already mentioned tomatoes. We get a lot of tomatoes. So we've been making lots of tomato fruits, tomato soup, courgette soup. What else have we made? Cabbage soup, not the nicest actually. Trying to think what else. What other soups? I think that's about it at the moment, but there'll be more. Digwell, Google, yes, a fig is a fruit. It is the fruit of the Ficus caquica tree, which is part of the mulberry family. Specifically, a fig is a Sisonium, which is a type of fruit formed from a flower cluster. Interesting. Linus says, the thing is, I come back from a plot, hot tired with bags of harvested veg, flowers and fruit, and haven't got the energy to put much effort into my cooking. Yes, so that is one of the downsides. That is one of the absolute downsides, and it's something that drives my wife mad because I come back with all this fruit, vegetables, herbs, and I can't do anything with them because I'm tired. What I've started doing, and I've spoken about this a lot more lately, I go down, obviously, I have a 3-day weekend because I only work 4 days a week because I'm lucky like that. So on my 3 days, I will go to the allotment first thing in the morning. I'll get down the allotment probably 7 o'clock in the morning on average. I'll do a couple of hours, bring back the harvests. About 9, half 9, I get home. And then by the time I've sort of done a few things throughout the day, I then have got all this food in which I can cook stuff up with. So again, this is what I found work for me, actually getting to the allotment that much earlier. It's made all the difference. I still go to the allotment on the way home from work as well, but that's generally just small harvests when we're talking about what we're going to have for dinner the following day. So, yeah. Gary says, glad we got that fig out. Good play. Good one there. I like that. We do like puns in this show. Turbo Stream says, I've been frying my courgettes with onion, then fry 2 eggs at the end with a baked potato on the side. As I hate cooking, it's an easy meal. Courgettes, onion, and egg. Interesting. Toby says, okay, so I'm looking at an overgrown fridge tree that has acid sap that seems to have escalated quickly. So don't worry too much about the sap. It's only when you're pruning it in the hot sun that it can be an issue. Ideally, if you ever prune it, make sure you wear gloves and long sleeves. Just try not to get it on your skin. That's all I'm saying. That's all we're saying. But other than that, it's fine. That sounds yummy. Fig molasses figs, sugar, lemon, and cook it low and slow. Blitz, strain, and store. Fig molasses. Turbo Stream says, I have a few leeks that are nearly ready to harvest soon. Lovely. Idaho and an easy meal, Turbo. Nicholas says, I'm lucky having my plot at home, no travel distance. Yeah. It's still the amount of work that goes in, isn't it? I mean, I've got to admit, the straw mulch that I've used this year has saved me so much work that I'm going to be doing that a lot. Turbo Stream says, it's an easy meal at IGG. I like plain food, to be fair. I'm a foodie. I love food. Highgrave, thanks for all the fig ideas. Much appreciated. Me too. Digwell says, same with carrots, parsnips, etc. Wear long sleeves and do not harvest in the sun. Yeah, it's just something to bear in mind. Umbrella fires can have that horrible sap as well. Giant hogweed is from that same family as carrots and parsnips and can burn you. Trying to think of, I was thinking carrots. Anybody got a glut of carrots, and what are they doing with carrots? I don't tend to get gluts so much at this time of year because I leave them in the ground until we need them. But once we're there, that's when once we need them, that's when we need recipes for them. Turbo Stream says, I left some spring onions too long. They bulbed up, so I made a small jar of pickled onions with them. There we go. Pickling. I mean, I love making pickles. We make pickled onions, pickled shallots, pickled dill or pickled cucumbers, depends on how you want to phrase them. Lots of good things with pickles. And in fact, Mexican pickled carrots. That sounds very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Right. I've got a couple of videos to get through this week. So I'm going to play the first one. By the way, I've made a bit of a theme song up for this. So we'll play the first one and then we'll come back and carry this conversation on.
Come and cook with me. Make some food with me. Come on, everybody. We're gonna make some food. Let's go.
Okay, it's time for our next recipe. We've got 250 grams of self-raising flour, into which we're going to add 250 grams of Greek yogurt. That splashes up all over the place. A couple of tablespoons of dried herbs and a pinch of salt added to that as well. And then 50 grams of olives that have been obviously destoned and chopped up. All goes into this mixture. And now we're just going to mix it all together. This is going to be our bread dough mixture. Hopefully this is going to work out. I've got to admit the Greek yogurt was quite a solid mix. So hopefully this will work out well. It sort of is. We might have to get our hands in there at this rate though. I think we will. I think we will. There's me trying to be clean. There we go, it's coming together. Absolutely lovely. I think that has more or less brought it together. So this is a flat bread, so there's no yeast, there's no raising or anything like that going on. The self-raising flour will have a bit of raising agent in it anyway. But I think, let's mix this all together well. It's almost like making a pastry, the way it sort of comes together. You know we don't like rice, so we make sure everything's there. I think we are more or less there with this dough. That is our dough mixture. So I'm going to put this to one side, bring in our chopping board. Let's just bring it all together. So we want to make this into about 6 different bits, so if we cut that in half and then try and get this into 3 equal pieces. Easier said than done sometimes, but we try and we try. 1, 2, 3, same with this one. 1, 2, definitely not equal, are they? 3, so I reckon that one's a bit on the small side. I think that'll do. So next, we're just going to roll that flat. We'll push it flat actually. Let's do that. Do it by hand. Why not? Saves on the washing up. Okay. Okay. I'm going to get a rolling pin out. We've got it in here, that is, we do. That's actually better with the rolling pin, isn't it? Sticking a bit because I didn't dust it with flour. Didn't think we were going to need to. Lesson learned. Okay, I'm happy with that. What we'll do, we'll get this one under cooking and we'll see how them do the rest. Okay, so into the frying pan with these. 2-3 minutes per side. I think we're going to have to do them one at a time. But we'll just give it a couple of minutes and then we'll flip it over. That looks good. That looks good. Give it another couple of minutes on that side and then we'll cook the rest up and see how they turn out. Okay, so here is my plate. That's the last one going on of these yogurt, olive, herb flatbreads. What they're going to taste like, we'll find out back in the studio. Oh, hang on. Let me get rid of that and remove that. There we go. So this is what one of them turned out. I will admit my presentation could have been better, but never mind that. Break it nice and easy. We've got olives in here, dill and a mixture of herbs. So what I've got in here is some smoky, spicy mayonnaise, which came from Clarkson's farm. We're going to diddly squat farm, so we're going to try the two together. That mayonnaise is good. That mayonnaise is good. We need to make some smoky chili mayonnaise. What about without the mayonnaise? Just to make sure I like it. That is really nice. Really, really nice. Presentation could be better. I'll grant you that. But the mix of the herbs and the yogurt actually really, really nice. Didn't take me long to make at all. Really like that. Really like that. I'm going to give that 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. And I could probably make it. I will make it again. I'll just have to practice it a bit more. Anybody got any? Don't forget, if you want to do a cook along for next week, hashtag cook along in the chat. But it's very nice to make those sort of flatbreads. Has anybody made any flatbreads out of anything we're harvesting at the moment? Courgette flatbreads or tomato flatbreads, maybe. What have we got? Rob says, I can't do with olives. They tried them loads of times, but I just can't get on with them. Oh, you're missing out. I do like olives. I'm just going to check on Instagram quickly. And Anna 20 joined, and Andy T723 has joined. Welcome along. Lovely to see you. Yeah, I really like olives. I've got an olive tree in the garden. Absolutely delicious. It doesn't produce many olives, but when it does, absolutely delicious. But I do like olives. We go for quite a few in this house, I believe it or not. D-Gwell says, I bought 1 kilo of mixed flavoured ones at the Malvern Food Festival. I was a bit over-ambitious. Had to bin half of them after 2 weeks. Yeah, they wouldn't last 2 weeks in our house. I can guarantee you that because we eat so many of them. Rob says, June loves them, so I keep trying one, but no. Fair enough. They're not to everyone's taste. I never used to like them, but I do now. Rob's getting hungry, as always, chat about food. Looks good, Richard. Fantastic. Digwell says, I like the spicy ones. Not quite Satan's shallot hot, though. I do like them. I do like hot. You know that. Anna Jones says, those look lovely. I love olive ciabattas, too. Olive in anything, I think it just tastes nice as well. Digwell says, try cutting back on the flour. Interesting. I will try that next time. And Scott says, looks tasty. More needing to get the gluten working, and the rest in it would have made it better to handle. I honestly haven't made bread for a long time. And I don't, well, you'll see, I've got the milk bread coming up a little bit later. I swear a lot during that one because I hate making bread. Hate it. Rob says that's why I keep trying them with spicy chili and spice. Tammy Stream says I made egg on toast out of my harvest this year. I can actually do that. I have made egg. I have egg most mornings. I've actually just ordered 2 new chickens. I think I said a couple of weeks ago we lost Bear now, my oldest chicken. She was 10 years old. We got 3 chickens, one of which is too old, doesn't really lay eggs. The other 2 are, well, they're probably about 2 years old, so they're going to stop laying eggs soon. So I've ordered 2 new chickens to arrive next month. Got to get ready for them. So it's going to be fun times with that. And new chickens, always love new chickens. More eggs is hopefully the plan. I love olives, says Idaho. Excellent. And Beddoes, hashtag cook along, hash brown potatoes, like in the USA, not like the rubbish here. So I've never been to the USA. I've been to Canada, but I've never been to the USA. So I will try, if that comes through, I will try and make hash brown like in the USA, but I can't say I've got much experience of what they're like in the USA. Digwell says, what is worse than finding a maggot in your apple? Finding a maggot in your mouth. That's worse. Digwell says, finding half a maggot in your apple. Yeah. I'm not an olive fan either. I can just about stomach the oil in my salad and I only do so for the health benefit. Finding half of one. Don't mind olive oil. Digwell says, it said I am trying to cut back on flour in reply to your, is anyone making flatbreads? Chat is too far behind. I'm just catching up. Oh, right. So you're trying to cut back on flour. That's why, right. Sorry. Thought you read the recipe. Yeah. You're trying to cut back on flour. I'm trying the same. I'm trying not to eat bread. Obviously, I have had to today, but I try not to eat bread. Even my lunches don't contain bread or anything like that. So I'm still trying to lose this gut on me. I'm trying to be less fat by eating healthier, which is why it's so good to be able to grow your own food, because I do get lots. Scott says, I always hate making bread. Also, I'm too impatient for it. Understandable. That's my problem as well. I'm too impatient for it. I don't have the patience for it. You will see in the milk bread. Beddoes, the trick with decent hash browns is not to touch them when they start cooking, except to flip them once. Here we go. There we go. In fact, don't forget, hashtag mission. Was that hashtag cook along? I think it was. Yeah. Hash browns. I have to try. You have to hold on till the end of the show to remind me what you have popped, because I can never remember everybody's suggestion. So flatbreads. It seems like an interesting way of using up some of the vegetables. On Instagram, Juliana Greenhouses has joined. Welcome along. Lovely to see you. Yeah, it seems like a good opportunity now. Flatbreads. I'm wondering about a dried tomato flatbread, how that would taste. Would that work? I know somebody that also made tomato bread as well, using tomatoes in bread. Was it dried tomatoes? Some dried tomatoes? I guess it would be. That's a way of using it up. As I said, I'm trying not to eat bread, so yeah. Turbo Stream says, I made a small loaf of bread yesterday, despite my efforts to cut back on flour. I just fancied making one. I sliced it and it's now in the freezer. Fair enough. That's a good enough way to not eat bread. Freeze it. Rob says, we only buy small loaves now, but before we finish it, we get green mold on it. Yeah. Yeah. You definitely notice the difference of how quick homemade bread goes moldy compared to shop bought stuff from a supermarket. It's worrying in some ways. I prefer the homemade stuff, but what is it that stops it from going moldy in the shop? Digwell says, if you want to eat bread, eat frozen bread, as some of its starch carbs have been converted to resistant starch and it's not digested so quickly. Yeah, I just don't eat bread anymore. I just don't eat bread. That's my way around it. Scott says, if you don't eat bread for lunch, i.e. a sandwich, hashtag. Is there more to that? Sorry, Scott. Is there more to that? Terry Strew says, I always freeze bread for resistant starch. I never knew that, I'll be honest. That's something I've learned here. Sourdough bread. Rob loves sourdough bread. I haven't had sourdough bread in ages. Interesting. Stuart, we are talking about food. How do I make my fig tree fruit? It's my only failure this year. Fig trees generally fruit twice a year. So what you got to think, a fig tree, well, the fruit comes from before the flower. So you have to encourage it to flower, which good water and good feeding, tomato feed will probably do. But they will, generally, you don't need to feed them in I find, but it depends if they're potted, lost their nutrients in the compost, or it's been used up. May need to replace those nutrients, but they will generally produce twice a year. So you'll get some spring around May time, and then some again around about now, which is what I'm getting at the moment, my second load of figs. Delicious, absolutely delicious. Vietnamese spring roll rice paper rolls. I was at a continuation. Instead, if you don't eat bread for lunch, i.e. a sandwich, then Vietnamese spring roll rice paper rolls. Yeah, that's an idea. My wife she'll cook me up a load of meat and something to get a salad to go with it, for example. So it could be like steak. I'll have steak for my lunch, or what do I have? Chicken drumsticks this week, or pork chops or something. That's what she tends to do. She'll cook it on a Sunday. Obviously, it's only 3 days, so Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Nice salad to go with it. It works for us. Cook along. Vietnamese spring rolls. There we go. That's in the list. Tabo Stream says, just be careful if you eat frozen bread, you might break a tooth. Yeah. LOL, says Rob. So anybody else? Has anybody else got anything that they are absolutely loving that they've cooked this year? Anybody got something that they really are going crazy about this year and cannot get enough of? Let us know. Rob says, now we know how the other half live. Steak for lunch. See, this is my problem I have with that. I mean, we're not talking sirloin steak or fillet steak for lunch. It's just a general, I think, either a ribeye or rump steak, just cooked very, very well. There's another type of steak that begins with B, which is a really cheap cut of steak, and I can't think of what it's called. And you either cook it hard and fast to be really good, or low and slow. But it probably only costs £1.50 for my steak each day. Not much. It's not much at all. Not much at all. Wish the dehydrator wasn't so noisy. Had to turn up the telly box to hear you sat in the kitchen, by the way. You thinking about what you can cook for us then, Beddoes, in sat in the kitchen? What are you dehydrating? What are you dehydrating? The courgette cake came out really well. I tried all couple of times. Courgette cake, a good way to use courgettes. Brisket, no, it's not brisket. That's not the one I was thinking. Scott's got it. Bavette steak. That's butcher steak. Bavette. That's the one I was thinking of. Really cheap cut of steak. Really cheap. You just got to remember, you've got to treat it quite nice to cook it well, but really, really nice cut of steak. Digwell says tomato paste, tomato sauce with basil, passata, dried tomatoes, frozen cherry tomatoes. Tomato paste. How did you make tomato paste? I'm going to throw that out there. How did you make tomato paste? Cheekate says, I can't get enough of Phil's pasta sauce. It feels great when everything in it is from the allotment and garden. Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing. Pasta sauce is a good one, I find, to using up some gluts, because we do make quite a few pasta sauces. Obviously, we need lots of tomatoes. They go in a pan. We'll throw in some vegetables, whatever vegetables we have, cook it, blend it. Quite good to cook in the kitchen Ninja. The Ninja blender. That does quite well for making pasta sauce. Yeah. Idaho says it's been so hot here, I buy already cooked rotisserie chicken. Then I chop up some chicken, chop an apple, and pot on top of a bed of lettuce. Vinaigrette drizzled on dinner. Done. Chicken salad with apple. Lovely. Every night for a month so far. So I've got a question. With regards to that because my wife and I have been discussing. I think everyone is finding the cost of living very tough at the moment. It's very, very expensive. But we're hearing that in the States, it's incredibly expensive, especially food. Is that what you're finding at the moment, Idaho? Slightly off topic, but I'm hearing this a lot. Digwas says to make tomato paste, same as tomato sauce, but lay it onto a lined tray to oven to cook off most of the moisture. Oh, so you just dehydrate it a little bit of more. Yeah. Scott says fantastic cutter steak, talking about bavette. Yeah. Just don't cook it over medium as it will get tough. Yeah. It's literally, you either have to, on a really hot pan, slap it in 30 seconds, turn it over 30 seconds, leave it to rest to get it good, or a really low heat on a long period of time. Yeah, good cut of steak. It's cheap as well. Here's me with dripping on toast. You know what? I laugh about dripping on toast, but I am one of these people that if I cook a roast, I will save the drippings. Like all the turkey that we cooked at Christmas, I saved all the fat from that. Still in our fridge, actually. When we're cooking something, we need a bit of fat. We'll use turkey fat, lamb fat, onion fat, beef fat, beef drippings, basically, for that. It is brilliant, absolutely delicious. Gary says, I made my pasta sauce in the Ninja soup maker yesterday. There we go. I knew there was a way we could do it. Pasta sauce in the Ninja. There we go. Digwa says, not use my dehydrator since I bought the air fryer. You've said this, haven't you? Use the air fryer to dehydrate. Turbo Stream says, every so often I crave a slice of toast with butter, hence why I made a small loaf. Supermarket bread doesn't agree with me now, so make a plain white loaf now. Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm like. I love it when we all make our own things. Good. Not exorbitant. There's a lot of exaggeration. Okay. I did wonder. Bedo says, got something similar to one I saw Richard use. Drying parsley is have so much and hate to waste food. Actually, that's a good point. Herbs, because I grow lots and lots of herbs, and I'm looking at ways of storing herbs. In fact, I've just pricked out a load of coriander. I've still got some parsley to do. I'm going to plant those down on the allotment and in the kitchen garden just to get those in the ground and taking up, growing a lot more of those herbs. And I'm going to look. I reckon. You know, we've got easy, 4 trays of coriander at the moment, probably the same in parsley. There's 48 plants per tray, so that's a lot of coriander and parsley. Drying it might be a way of using it up. So has anybody got any tips for herbs, how you can use herbs up? Digwell, if it bleeds, it sells. Stuart says, I just make a salad from the garden. Lettuce, tomato, cucumber, peppers, onions, and apple, all from the garden. Oh, he's just making it right now. That sounds delicious. Absolutely delicious. Digwell says, and it worked out cheaper to use the air fryer than the dehydrator. Interesting. Scott says, dripping on toast, hands down, one of the best things on toast. Bone marrow being the best. You're making me hungry. I've had my dinner already. And a delicious pork chop with potato salad and Greek salad. Salad for me tonight. Yeah, it's hot, isn't it? A salad. I've got to admit, I know we sometimes find salads to be a bit boring, but I really like salads. I think they're underrated because I really, really like salads. They're tasty. TurboStream says, I'm eating more salads lately and now fry a mackerel fillet to chop up into it. Exactly. Mackerel, bass, salmon, anything like that in our salads. Absolutely lovely. Not sure I have ever eaten dripping on toast. It sounds fab. It is delicious. That's why I save. As I said, I cook a meal. If I cook a roast or something, I save those fats because they are so good. I am addicted to Scottish shortbread this summer too. Oh, I love shortbread. I love shortbread. Do love shortbread. Gary's got another cook along suggestion: Herbie salad dressing. Excellent. Did you do? No, it's Beddoes who did the other one. So, yeah, looking good. Idaho says that's perfect salad. TurboStream, indeed. Don't forget, you can also set a mission for next week using hashtag mission. A mission is a challenge or something you would like me to do over the next week. Last week we were set the challenge to make a seed tray out of pallets, which is something we've done before. I haven't been able to get a pallet around the back of my house. As you know, I was going off topic slightly. I've been having works done on my driveway. Well, this week, Thursday, the resin that went down. My driveway is more or less completed. We've just been waiting for it to harden, to cure. And I believe the builder needs to come back and just do a final clean down and everything, which it was meant to come on Friday. And unusually, we haven't heard from him. But my driveway is nearly finished after weeks and weeks and weeks of struggling. I'm getting annoyed. My driveway is finally finished. It looks absolutely beautiful as well. Absolutely beautiful. The jelly on the dripping is the best bit. Absolutely. My gosh, Scottish shortbread. Now I'm salivating. Absolutely. Digger says, I had roasted pelican at a local exotic food restaurant near me the other week. Very, very nice, but a heck of a bill. Oh, I thought you were being serious for a minute there, because we used to have a butcher's near us that actually sold exotic meats. It was like crocodile, snake, impala. What else was there? I don't know. I tried them all. I can't say crocodile was weird, really weird, but I tried them all. Snake was weird as well, thinking about it, but I tried them all. Discovered cinnamon basil, absolutely best basil for pasta sauce. There's so many different basils with different flavors, isn't it? It's hard to choose what one to grow. Amanda has joined, says evening or good evening to you. Lovely to see you. Hope you are well and managing to cope with the vast amount of courgettes. We were getting courgette recipes earlier. Anybody got anything they want to add, then please do add them. TurboStream says lettuce, cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, onion, beetroot. I add ground pumpkin seed and ground flax seeds. Add a chopped mackerel fillet with a hard-boiled egg and topped off with nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast. That's it. What's that? I've never heard of that. Rob, I have had yak. I've never eaten yak actually. Never eaten yak that I can think of. I'm pretty adventurous with my food, so I've eaten most things. Even snails. I never eat those again. Well, yeah, I'll probably never eat those. They were like mussels, is the only way I could describe them. And I like mussels. I had mussels on Friday night. What else was something jumped in my frog's legs I've eaten as well, and they're weird. They are like chicken. Digwell, I went back a week later and said crocodile sandwich and make it snappy. Here they go. Yeah, Rob says they get worse as you get older. Idaho says, oh my gosh, TurboStream, that sounds like a salad description from a posh restaurant. I've had yak as it all comes back. Yakety yak. Oh dear, taking me back now. Right, now let's go to another cook along. This has been one that has been in the pipeline for quite a while now, but I finally got around to doing it.
Hey!
Okay, so it is time for the first recipe today, and this time it's one of these recipes that have been hanging around for a while. It's this Japanese milk bread. Now what I've got here, 350 grams of strong white bread flour. Into that we're going to add 30 grams of sugar. We're going to add a teaspoon of salt, and we're going to add 7 grams of dried yeast. Just going to give that a good mix so it all comes together and looks mixed, you could say. Now next we are going to add the final few ingredients. Pretty easy this. So we've got 125 millilitres of warm milk, 100 millilitres of warm water, and then 30 grams of softened butter. So what we're going to do now, we'll give it a bit of a mix to start off with, but we've got to knead this for 10 minutes. This is one of those jobs that I absolutely hate about bread making, but it needs doing. So we'll come back in 10 minutes and I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes of kneading this, and as you can see, if I move my hand out of the way, it's looking kind of good. So it's nicely mixed up. I'm just going to sort of flatten it down a bit. This is why I hate making bread, because of how dirty everything gets. Anyway, we're going to leave that to rise until it has doubled. So as you can see, that's how much we got. We'll leave that to rise till it's doubled, then we'll move on with the next step. In the meantime, I'm off to wash my hands. Okay, that has been 25 minutes and that looks like it more or less has doubled up. So I've got here some lasagna tin, not necessarily a bread tin. We're just going to grease the inside of that with a bit of olive oil. Make sure it goes all the way around. Another messy job in some ways. Just add a splash more oil on that. Just to get right around the edges, really. There we go. Now the bread mix, we're going to knock it back, which is just a case of punching it down. See what I'm doing a bit better in the camera. And we'll take that out of there. Place that in this bread tin once again. Again, knock it down, knock it back. Got some more to add in as well, because we don't like waste. And all we're going to do is try and get that fill up this tin nicely. I bloody hate bread making. I don't have the patience for it, that's my trouble. I don't have the patience for bread making. Right, I'm going to go get a knife or something, back of a spoon, and just smooth that off. But again, we're going to leave that for another few minutes till it doubles in size. Well, I think that's safe to say that has risen nicely. So this is going to go in the oven on gas mark 4, 180 degrees C, 30 to 35 minutes. And we'll see what it looks like when it comes out the oven. Okay, looks nice and golden brown. Comes out. What we'll do, we'll just place that there. Little pieces came off, so I can see that looks cooked. Sounds nice and hollow when we tap it. So all we've got to do now, we'll just leave that to cool, and then we'll see how it tastes back in the studio. Indeed, so here is the Japanese milk bread. As you can see, it's quite small. I'll cut into it, and I know I'm doing it probably the most awful place to cut into it, but I'm doing it for a reason. That's not too badly risen, actually. Don't look too bad. We'll cut a slice off there. There we go. That's how it looks. Let's give it a try. That's bloody good. That is bloody good. I don't like making bread because it annoys me, but that's bloody nice bread. Well, I'm going to give that 9.5 out of 10. I'm impressed with that. I am very impressed with that. It tastes good. I won't say it was easy to do. Well, it was quite easy to do. It's just a bit of a bit of patience needed and a bit messy, but really nice. Really, really nice. I like that. That's been one hanging around for a few weeks. So I'm glad to get that cooked off now and off the list. Over on Instagram, Andrew J. Hutchinson 1 has joined. Welcome along. Lovely to see you. Now, let's see. Scott says you've talked yourself into this one, Richard. Hashtag cook along crocodile steak. Joke, don't actually do this. I don't know where we'll get it from anymore because that butcher that we did used to get it from has closed. Turbo Stream nutritional yeast he mentioned he has on top of his salads. Flakes of yeast that are a good source of B vitamins. Taste a bit like cheese. Just sprinkle on top. Interesting. Rob says his yak tasted similar to water buffalo. I've eaten water buffalo. That's really nice, actually. Really nice, I found. So kind of know what you mean there. Turbo Stream says, I sort of made it up as I went to pack it with good nutrition. Absolutely. Absolutely. Gary says the kids and I are loving the cook along theme tune. I wasn't sure. I'm glad you like it because I've got very different taste in music to most people, so I wasn't sure how well that was going to go down, but I'm glad you like it. What have we got? Digrat says I did have mountain chicken in Montserrat many moons ago. It was a bloody big toad on the plate. Turns out it's now an endangered species. I've heard about this, the mountain chicken being toad. I had it in St. Kitts and it was frog's legs, but nice. Mountain chicken legs was on the menu too. Idaho says eating a toad would be a line I might not cross. One, they're hard to find around here. Two, I wouldn't know how to cook it. I think people will eat anything if they're hungry enough, though, won't they? Rob says, I do think the worst meat I've ever tasted is yak when I was in Bhutan. Is that Bhutan? I don't know. Leave the dough alone. I was following the instructions. Nutritional yeast is often used as in vegetarian as a vegan cooking for protein and vitamins. And yes, it tastes of cheese. Interesting. I mean, if I was starving, everything goes on the menu. Absolutely. Bit dry. It makes a tasty topping to a salad, Anna. Oh, yeah. Scott says, I would find it difficult making Japanese milk bread. So good effort. Not an easy bread to make. It needs kneading for hours until it stops being so sticky. I did 10 minutes and I timed it 10 minutes because it was the longest 10 minutes of my life. I'm sitting there going, watching the clock. That seems to take forever. ever. I hate that's the bit I don't like. Worms, etc. on jungle training, but we were forced to eat them. Yeah, I've eaten worms. Everybody's eaten worms, I think. Toby looked like, well done, mate. Looked like a bit of hard work. It was worth it though. It's actually quite nice bread. I can see why they use this bread for that fruit and cream bread, that fruit sandwich that seems to be all the rave in Marks and Spencer's. I can see why that is used. It's nice though. Digwell says, I got banned from Kraft's dog show. They claimed my long-nosed greenback Amazonian water whippet was actually a crocodile. I bet it was. I bet it was. God, that is nice bread. That is really nice bread. Really nice bread. I really quite like that. I love making bread, says Chike, but I don't need. That's what stand mixers are for. Yeah, I wish I'd used our stand mixer. I just was well aware that it would have made a lot of noise. Have you seen how hot it is? My head is glistening in the heat. It is a warm one. It is a warm one. Right, let me have a quick countdown. What else have we got to go through? Just looking through my notes. I think we've pretty much covered everything about what we're cooking at the moment, unless anybody's got anything else to add. I'm all ears. I'm trying to debate what to go to next. Let's have a look at your photos. That seems like a good opportunity to have a look at your photos. So what have we got today? First of all, Gary has made some onion rings. He was worried about these, not being able to get them, but they were in the group. So we've seen them and they look fantastic. I do like onion rings and they look like some big onions as well. Nathan's also shared this giant serpent melon he's grown, which is a good over 40 centimeters long. I wonder what it tastes like. Does it taste good? It looks impressive nonetheless. Really quite impressed with it. I bet you are as well. Digwell has sent in a weather report with no rain predicted for the next 10 days. We really need some rain. We really need some rain soon. I'm going to be out there dancing at this rate to try and get it to rain. But we need a lot of rain, a lot of rain. Kate is very pleased with the rhubarb grown from our supporters club seeds. And I do send out rhubarb usually in January seeds because I find it so easy and so satisfying to grow from seed. I do end up with a lot of rhubarb, don't get me wrong, but it is so easy to grow from seed. Now, Stuart's Pak Choi, we did a seed of the month where we're sowing one seed, and Stuart's Pak Choi is up and germinated and looking good. Mine is looking very, very similar. I didn't take a photo because we only sowed it last week. I thought I'll save it for next week to show you how it's getting on, but this is looking good nonetheless. Talking of Pak Choi, Digwell has also sown some Pak Choi and his has germinated within 3 days, also looking very, very good. Now, some Beddoes humour from the Daily Daphne newspaper. A thief was snared after stealing beetroot from an allotment. The police spokesman said we caught him red-handed. Wah, 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 wah. That was really bad there, wasn't it? Chili Kate is impressed with her melons, which is a good sign. It's been a good year for fruits. I've seen it time and time again, including melons. Kate has been taking some rosemary cuttings in placing them in the hydroponics to see if they will take. I reckon they will take, but keep us posted on how they do. And she's also harvested this dragon's egg cucumber, which is one of my favourite cucumbers. So small, so tasty, so fresh. Absolutely delicious, and they look stunning as well. They literally do look like a dragon's egg. Now, please do keep sharing your photos. You can post them in our Facebook group. You can send to me via social media or email me, richard@theveggrowerpodcast.co.uk. That's richard@theveggrowerpodcast.co.uk. UK. What have we got? Scott says, Richard, me and you are very similar when it comes to making bread. My ADHD doesn't allow it. Yeah, I think that's my trouble. I just don't have the patience for it. I just get annoyed with it. Great pictures again, says Stuart and Digwell. Nice one, guys. It's always good to see your photos. We really do need to see more and more of your photos. I need to post more of my photos as well, but we really do enjoy seeing your photos. I think they give us a good talking point. And great example, Idaho says that dragon's egg cucumber really looks like an egg. I'm amazed. And that's the point. That's why we share these photos, because those dragon's egg cucumbers, they do look like an egg, but they taste absolutely amazing as well. They're a bit of a novelty item, but it tastes good as well. And that's why they're one of my favorite cucumbers to grow. They're not the most productive cucumbers, but we don't worry about that. They're just good cucumbers nonetheless. Nice and cool, really refreshing. They look interesting. And I think we went for a phase where there was some, what were they? Lemon cucumbers and apple cucumbers that seemed to be very popular. And I didn't find them that good, to be honest with you. But these cucumbers, absolutely brilliant. One of my favorites. Kate says, I'm going to do more of those dragon egg next year. Really love it. I don't blame you. Don't blame you. They are the best, in my opinion. Added to that, Digwell says 12 cucumber recipe videos on YouTube. Nudge, nudge. Give us some ideas, Digwell. Give us some ideas on what these recipes might be. Fab photo, guys. And Digwell, no, the lemon ones were disappointing. I'm glad I wasn't the only person that thought that. I thought they were just not quite what they were made out to be. They were a little disappointing. And the apple ones were just as bad, to be honest. I'm trying to remember, were they just called lemon cucumbers or lemon drop or something? I can't remember. Gary says, I have a packet of dragon's egg cuke. I'm not going to use it if anyone wants them. There you go. If anybody wants them, get in touch with Gary. The only positive of the sunshine is that I have passion fruit for the first time ever. 3 fruits so far, and the plant is at least 8 years old. Passion fruit, is that going to taste? I bet that will taste absolutely amazing. I love passion fruit. Absolutely love passion fruit, but I've never really been successful in growing it. I remember when I went on honeymoon to St. Lucia in the Caribbean, I brought back some passion fruit seeds, which had germinated and grew, but it didn't make it through the winter, which was a shame. Quick check on Instagram, nothing going on over there. Idaho says, some people love those lemon cukes, but I just didn't. So it's nice to hear somebody else say the same. It looks like quite a few of us are in agreement with them. But hey, everyone's different. Everyone is different. Right. Next, it's time for Richard Rants.
Richard Rants on the spot that he's gonna get it off his chest. Let him take the fun vet. Richard Rants. Richard Rants.
Bit too happy that song for this little feature, isn't it? I need to change that up. Anyway, right, it is now time for my rant of the week. And this rant comes to you from something that has happened to me this week. I had an email from our council, and they said basically I've got 2 half plots, and it was only on one of the halves. They said they did an inspection and they didn't feel that I was using or had 75% of my allotment in cultivation. I sort of went, what do you mean? My allotment is in full cultivation. There was a lot of toing and froing. I ended up meeting up with them and they came down and I went through my allotment with them and I showed them what I was growing. What it was, they couldn't see the chard. They couldn't see the young plants from the side of the road where they literally drive past doing their assessment. It's been a dry year this year, as I'm sure you've moaned about a lot this year. And that has meant that a lot of my crops have came to fruition a little earlier than usual. My main crop potatoes, for example, have already started dying down. And that means that the allotment may look a little bit empty, but there's still stuff growing in these. And where beds have been emptied, we've got more seeds and stuff sown in them to take over it from. So I was a little annoyed about that. But what annoyed me more was the fact that they didn't do a proper inspection. It was just to drive past and see what's going on. That's my rant. That's my rant. I guess there's time factors, but that's my rant. Chili Cake says, I must check if the passion bush hanging over from next door has any fruit. Please do check it out. Digwa says, smashed cucumber, salt and vinegar, cucumber crisps, cucumber kimchi, quick pickled cucumbers, cucumber raita, cucumber and Branston pickle sandwich, cucumber in a white garlic sauce, Ajo Blanco. Lightly spiced pickled cucumber, Thai-style salad, Mediterranean cucumber cups, cucumber and boursin wraps, creamy, hot or cold cucumber soup. Just a few ideas. Just a few ideas. Idaho says, oh, good grief, allotment spies. What next? I don't blame you, Richard. I would be on a rent too. Not so much allotment spot. Not so much allotment spies. It was more that they have to do an inspection. I get that because they need to keep on top of things. It's just the fact that they clearly didn't know anything about growing your own, because they would have recognized what I had grown. It was literally like I had my chard, and they were like, well, that looks, what did they call it? They called it some type of weed. And I went, no, it's yellow, red, white chard. And they were thinking it was some type of weed. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. Gary says, how will the committee they respond? How will the committee they respond to green manures? How would the committee respond? Don't know. It's been a bit of a problem it's been a bit of a problem in the past when I've used green manures. So I probably should have put a sign up saying green manures so people know what's going on. But you know, it's that time of year when everything, like, it's anybody, I don't know if my potatoes have done this really early, but my main crop potatoes, the foliage has started dying down and pretty much died down. A couple more weeks and it'll be a case of chopping it down and starting to get those hardened. But if anybody else has got the same thing, let me know. I wish our site owner would do an inspection. I'm with you on that. And sounds like my former HOA police. Grr. Yeah, I hate HOAs. Tabextream says, I think a committee do a walk around each month, which is what I do. As long as you are seen to be working the plot, they leave you alone. They don't like plot holders. They leave the plots for weeks on end. Yeah, I understand that. I do understand that. And Chili Cake says, we are flanked by 3 very poorly cultivated plots, so I know I have to go a fair way to get a letter. That's my problem as well. I've got somebody to the top of me who, they got evicted and their weeds come over onto mine. So it's a nightmare. Wait and see if I get any flack for using the wildlife camera. Well, yeah. We'll see what happens. I don't think you will, but I'd like, if you don't know, Chili Kate has put a video up in the Facebook group. I couldn't download it, unfortunately, of her wildlife camera in the allotment. It caught some badgers and deer. It's well worth a look. Toby says, how's everyone's getting on with the Pak Choi challenge? There's some photos in the photos earlier from Digwell and Stuart. All ours that I'm aware of have germinated and grown well. I'll give you an update on mine next week. Right, it is now time, because I've only seen Cook Along come through on the hashtag, so we're just going to do that today. Let's just make sure we're all set up. So we're only going to do the Cook Along today. I'm really, really hoping it's not Chef Scott's suggestion. I thought we had more than that. I thought we had more than 3. Winner was Beddoes, and I can't remember what Beddoes was. Let me just check there was no emissions. No, I cannot remember what Beddoes one was. So if you can let me know, and that will be what we cook along next week. Digwell says some sites don't like them as they are considered to be covert CCTV. Chili says there's a fox as well, but only as a still. I did see there's lots of reflective things in the background of the badgers. I wondered if they what they were. I thought they could be eyes or something, but interesting. It is interesting what goes on when you're not around. Kate says my pak choi is underway, looking good so far. Please do share a photo ready for next week's thing. So I'm just waiting for Beddoes to remind me what he. God, it's so hot. It's so hot, so hot. I can't remember what it was. If anybody can remind me, if he's not here. Aliens, says Digwell. Those lights in the rear could be rear aliens, couldn't it? Gary says, mission, show us your harvest for the week. I can do that. That's the mission for next week as well. Digwell, take care to only record between 9 and 6:30. Cool. American style hash browns. That's what it was. American style hash browns. Oh, I'm looking forward to a bath tonight. I'm so hot. Chili, the flashing is silver bird tape. Sorry, I'm going with aliens. I'm sorry, I'm going with aliens. It was aliens in the background. It wasn't silver tape. It was aliens because that sounds more exotic. And I'm convinced it was aliens. Nobody can tell me any different. I am sure it was aliens. Who agrees with me? It was aliens. I haven't got a subject for next week again. Has anybody got any ideas or something they would like to talk about next week? I'm going to throw this open to you guys. First suggestion that I see come up will be what we do. Let's have a check on Instagram quickly as well. Dante Sarpa has joined. Welcome along. Lovely to see you. Chili Kate and Digwell's giving a chili thumbs up as well. It's aliens. I'm telling you, it is aliens. But yeah, I would like a subject for next week, something that we can talk about next week. Amanda's came straight in with it. What to grow over winter. There we go. That's what we're going to talk about next week. We still have 1.5 minutes to go for tonight before I close off. So I'm going to start saying thank you so much for joining us again this week. We've had a lovely discussion about what we're cooking at the moment. We've got lots of ideas of all the various things that we can cook. That's a good one. Do aliens grow veg? That is a good one. That is a good one. We'll save that for Halloween, I think, though. That might be a good one for Halloween. Remind me of that nearer the time. Remind me of that nearer Halloween, because I think that would be a good conversation. I think we've had a good discussion about what we can cook at the moment. Lots of ideas, lots of figs, courgettes, ideas for all of those. I love that aliens grow veg discussion. Anyway, right, I think it is time to wrap up and get out of here. We will be back again next Sunday at 6, where we're going to be talking about what to grow for winter veg, and we're going to be cooking American style hash browns. I'm going to have to remember this. Scott, I hope you can remember to share with me in a moment. American style hash browns, and there was something else. And to take a photo of my harvest for the week. Right, it is now 7:30. It's time to get out of here. Thanks so much, guys, for joining me. We'll see you again next Sunday at 6. Until then, please take care.